Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another video for you guys today. This time it's a deck profile on my Shaddoll Dinosaur deck. Out of all the Dinosaur variants, this is actually my favorite one to play because the Shaddolls give this deck a little extra power. And if you can bring out both Shaddoll Winda and Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, you essentially just locked out your opponent because that by itself is a win condition on its own because Winda only allows both players to special summon once per turn. And with Tyranno constantly flipping monsters, that could be a big problem. And there are other cool things you could do with this deck, which I'll get to momentarily. But I figured I'd just do an updated on this deck since, the Shaddoll Structure deck comes out tomorrow, especially if you go to an OTS store, which hopefully I should have my Shaddoll Structure decks by then, and do deck profiles on the Shadolls by themselves. And yeah, definitely get that to you guys as soon as can. But for now, let's just go and get started with this deck. So starting off with the main deck, still 40 cards. I'm running 3 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. You could run this at 2. The reason I like 3 is because this is probably the best monster in the entire deck. Just the fact that, by himself he could do so much. He's Book of Eclipse, so prevent your opponent from link climbing and all that good stuff. Next, 3 copies of Oviraptor. This is your main searcher and your Foolish Burial of the card, so you can send Overtext Quatless or search out your Tyranno if you need to, depending on what your hand looks like. There's a lot of things you could do with Oviraptor. And he's also a monster reborn if you pop a dinosaur on the field. So that's really nice. 3 Miscellaneousaurs. Definitely got to be able to protect your dinosaurs from card effects. So Miscellaneousaurs can be used in a variety of ways. So it just depends on how you want to go about it. It's there for you. Next, bunch of one-ofs actually. I'm only running 1 of each of the babies. Only because they're bricks in this variant. So that's why I'm only running 1 of each. I'm not running direct ELO. It doesn't really do anything. And plus, I don't have room for synchro monsters in my extra deck right now. So that's why I decided to cut the direct ELO for this build. And of course, can't forget Giant Rex, Pankratops, and last but not least, Quatless. So these are the one-ofs. I never want to see Quatless. I don't mind seeing Giant Rex or Pankratops opening hand because considering that this is a going second deck, that's the only reason why I'd like to do it this way. Now, this deck can play going first, but it's a little tricky. So just be mindful on how you want to play the deck going first because, you need to be able to handle that. But more on that later. So that's it for the Dino engine. Now we're moving on to the Shaddoll engine. I'm only running 3 Shadolls, so I'm running, of course, 1 Beast, 1 Dragon just to pop spells and traps. And I was going to run Hedgehog originally, but I kind of want to keep the Shaddoll engine a lot more live. So that's why I'm running 1 copy of Shaddoll Falco instead. And plus, he's free pop fodder, so you can pop him with Tyranno. He brings himself back and, just sets himself back face down defense. And later on, if you flip summon him, you can special summon any Shaddoll monster from your grave, including the Elf Shadolls, back from your grave and face down defense. So a good way to, just keep the Shaddoll engine live. And plus, you could easily bring back Beast to get a draw 2 and discard 1. So, yeah, that's really nice. Alright, so for hand traps, I'm running 3 Ash. Definitely a standard hand trap to play. Instead of playing Called by the Grave in this deck, I'm actually running this card instead, Psyframe Gear Gamma. And of course, you still got to run the 1 Vanilla, the Psyframe Driver. And the reason behind this is because it's really great, especially if you're going second. If you need to bait out an opponent's negate with a Shaddoll Fusion or something, like if they play Ash against that card, you could easily chain with Psyframe Gear Gamma, and just get out 2 free bodies, link climb them off. And another interesting thing is that this card is not once per turn. So in case let's say you were up against Spirals, they try to negate the first one with Trigate Wizard or something, but you have a second one in hand, you could easily just chain off that one because you still don't control any monsters. And while the first one gets banished, you can still bring out Psyframe Driver. So as long as you're able to summon that card out, you should be just fine. So yeah, this is kind of my alternative to deal with those kind of cards. Alright, so now moving on to the spells. Running 3 Lost World. You still want to use this card because the fact that you can produce tokens on your opponent's side of the field, and your opponent can't target monsters except tokens, so it's a good way just to play defensively. And plus, if you try to pop those tokens, you could easily pop one of your babies since they're one-ofs anyway. It's easy to bring out some of your other monsters if you need to. 3 Fossil Dicks, Rhoda, can't say anything more than that. Since it's a Shaddoll variant, gotta play 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. 3 Super Poly, it's not a Shaddoll deck without Super Poly, so I definitely want to make full use of this. 2 Double Evolution Pill. 1 Terraforming to get access to your Lost World, and last but not least, 1 Foolish Burial. And that's generally it. Alright, so now for the extra deck. I had the extra deck space was a little tight, but I worked around it, so hopefully this is okay. I'm only running one copy of Shaddoll Window because, I felt like you only need the one anyway. And plus it's revivable, so that's one of the things about it. Same thing with Shukinaga, and of course, Shaddoll Construct. So just one of each of the best ones in my opinion. And for super poly targets, Mud Dragon in the Swamp is still good. And Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. And of course, the Shaddolls themselves can also be super poly targets if, your opponent has the correct attributes you need. So yeah, definitely something to look into. So just 5 fusion monsters and no more than that. Alright, so for the Link monsters, running Psyframe Gear, or Psyframe Lord Lando, I'm sorry. Amazing card. This searches out your Psyframe Gears. So definitely a great card. And plus, like, even if you have monsters on the field while this is up face up on the field, you can play Psyframe Gear Gamma directly from your hand, even if you have monsters. So yeah, amazing card. I definitely love what it can do. One Cross Sheep, just because, we are running fusion monsters. If you pull this off, you can definitely get some really cool combos going off. Like if you bring out a fusion monster and you have an Oviraptor still in your hand, you essentially don't have to commit to your normal summon. So because this card lets you special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your grave. So if you manage to have one in grave and don't want to commit to a normal summon for another one, just do that. And it's just a good way to, like, again, just extend and go crazy about it. So Cross Sheep, definitely something to try out. Alright, next up, got the Nightmare Package, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn. And the only link form running in this deck is Borlo Dragon. And the reason behind this is just because he can't be targeted. And plus he steals monsters, non-targeting. So definitely a good way just to clear out boards. So, yeah. As for the XCs, again, extra deck space is very tight. So running Dolka, Lagia, Abyss Dweller, and Gustav Max. I felt like these were the best choices, so that's what I'm going with. Alright, now moving on to the side deck. Side deck's fairly standard. I'm running 3 copies of Nibiru. Debating whether I should replace this with Winged Dragon or Raw Sphearma, but so far Nibiru's working out for me. Plus it's light monster too, so I might just stick with that card anyway, so yeah. 3 Drone Lockbird just to deal with spirals or any search heavy deck like Heroes. Dark Ruler No More for any combo oriented deck really. Like as long as they bring out monsters that have like multiple negates, it's basically for anything like that. Pendulum, Spiral, Hero, like you don't want to deal with those. Triple Twin Twisters for the back row heavy strategies, and last but not least, Evenly Matched also for the back row heavy strategies. And if you can bait out any negates like on decks that have like a bunch of monsters out, if you can bait them all out, then you can play this and just get the advantage from there. Alright, so yeah. Well, that's all I got for you guys for right now. Just stay tuned for the combo video, and I'll get back to you guys really soon.